Hey, kia ora koutou whānau. Welcome back to Big Husky News. Good to be with you again, and welcome to the show. Apparently, my name has been changed to Pat Credible and Chew Tabulous. Welcome to the show. Hey, Chewy.
How you doing, mate? How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm on the mend.
Over the hump yet?
I'm on the mend. I'm at the doctor's tomorrow. It's turned into an infection. Like I've got congestion and infection on my testicles. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It is what it is. I'm still resting during the day. Probably slept for 3 hours during the day today. So we're getting there. It's fine. I'd rather be nowhere else, Chewy. There's nowhere else I'd rather be than right here, right now with you guys. Yes. Oh, I should do that little Love Heart song. Which one is this? I don't play this enough to do the thing. That one. With you. Yeah. Yeah, I tell you something I have been looking at today. It's been absolutely fascinating. There's this dried up, old, withered former journalist who now looks like a pile of melting pancake batter, who had Candace Owens on their show like a week and a half ago. And
of course he did.
But since then, he's starting to learn that she had said some anti-Semitic things in the past, like talking about how if Hitler had just stayed in Germany, things would have been okay. It was only because Hitler wanted world domination that was actually a problem. And you've had in the last couple of days both the would we have a Holocaust museum in New Zealand? It's a Holocaust memorial group, whatever that is, and also that other group with Juliet What's-Her-Face in there on there, both kind of going. Both kind of go, yeah, she said some pretty horrible things. And the old pile of pancake batter going, can you show me where, what exactly, when, what was said when? And I saw a tweet today because it comes off my algorithms. I've done some searching. I can't find anything. One Google search. There was an article a month ago written about all the anti-Semitic things that she said. And it's just really interesting to watch what's happening because you see these horrific people on that side are they're on the same side. But all of a sudden, this withered up old former journalist has annoyed some people on their side. And it's interesting watching the dance where withered old journalists has to been kind of going like, well, no, it's free speech. But, you know, I understand. He actually said today, I think, I'm not the person to talk to this. I'm like, what? Hello, welcome to Wokesville. You're not the correct representation to talk about this. Is that what you actually said? Really, really interesting to watch it. And the potential. Well, there's not going to be any fallout because also Juliet, what's her name? Surname? Was it Moses?
Juliet Moses, yeah.
Moses. Actually also kind of being gentle around the thing going, well, you know, we have to choose what we really just turn our backs on and ignore and what we bring attention to and, you know, the Streisand effect. And it's really interesting because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And even if Candace Owens is or isn't an anti-Semitic piece of shit, she serves a purpose in this part of the political world, and they can't be seen to be completely shunning her because Candace's audience in New Zealand is their audience in New Zealand. And it's uncomfortable when you start to delve into who Candace's audience would be and then have to start to go, oh, they're my audience too. They never go to the next step, which is what does that mean about my message? But it's been fascinating to see, man. Absolutely fascinating.
I mean, I've got a whole bunch of thoughts to do with that. I mean, the fact that this is again that shrink wrap pile of ham offcuts, once again failing in the most basic of journalistic endeavors of just maybe looking into your guests. Even a cursory 15-minute Google search while you're sitting on the shitter probably would have done that. Just the barest of minimums. And then trying to walk that back. I also love that it's the Jewish Council really having to bend over backwards now because they've aligned with the Free Speech Union. And of course, Free Speech Union want Candace Owens to come here.
Yep.
And New Zealand Jewish Council is up to their eyeballs in the Free Speech Union. So where are they going to go? Are they going to turn their back on this group that they've partnered with, or are they going to enable a Holocaust denier to come to New Zealand? This whole thing of Candace Owen coming here is mental.
Yeah.
Why? Who wants
Well,
this?
I can tell you why, and it's probably part of the reason that she even agreed to be on something like that other platform, is because she had a falling out with Ben Shapiro over anti-Semitic and non-support thing that Ben Shapiro, and so she got booted off the Daily Wire. So guess what? She doesn't have that audience anymore. So guess what? She's available for a new grift, and so she's probably doing because she can. That's why. Do you think if she was still sitting in the Daily Wire doing her daily whatever it is show, she'd be fucking on Plunkett's show? Of course not. Yeah, I'm sorry I said his name. I don't turn up in the mirror behind you. I won't say it again.
So here's the opportunity the government can, because we can't come up with an original thought. Obviously, we've got to follow bigger countries. Maybe we should follow Australia's example here with Candice. I did see a statement from Australia's Home Affairs Minister, Tony Burke. My opposition to anti-Semitism and Islamophobia has always been on the record. I have a clear legal power to knock back a visa for anyone who I decide would incite discord.
Yep.
Very much aimed at Candace Owens' tour. So if she can't get into Australia, she's not coming here.
Yeah. The other thing that was really interesting to watch is this withered, dried up old ex-journalist. The reason he was talking about this was because one of the journalists from Newsroom wrote a piece about it, and you'd hear very, very clearly he didn't actually care about the issue per se. He wanted to make sure that the journalist from the Newsroom was painted as a woke liar. That was the genesis of his conversation with the Holocaust memorial people as well. And look, I've just done it again. I've just written Candace Owen anti-Semitic statements into Google, and like that's what I'm saying. It's one Google search. You absolute fucktard. The very first one was 15 hours ago. The Anti-Defamation League from 15 hours ago. It's not hard to find about anti-Semitic outbursts and things that she said. So I can't remember who it was, but we remember there was someone who was talking to, and we realized in the middle of listening to a clip, he didn't know who she was or why she was on, because he was asking questions about her. Do you remember that? So
yeah, so that's his little producer. What's his name? I always forget his name.
Don't know.
But like that's the job of a producer, right? Hey, Sean, you awake, buddy? Poke, poke, poke. On the show today, we've got this person. This is what she's done. You could Google her if you wanted, or you can just go into this fucking blind and look like an idiot. Oh, yeah. Okay. You want me to leave you alone? All right, buddy.
Yeah. I guess I'm getting Facebook messages. Just trying to find my Facebook so I can shut it down. Cool, man. It's really interesting to watch. And I guess, I mean, when it comes from profile, she's certainly slumming it coming onto his show. I mean, she'd be slumming it coming onto any show. And I'm not saying that like we're the shit or anything. But there's no question that there we go. Facebook, go away, Facebook. But yeah, it's fascinating to watch. It's not really fallout yet, but you can just see, oopsie daisy, people, what's happening here. Got a few things to talk about tonight, and I know some of you hopefully have got your popcorn. We'll do it in the last half hour of the show, meaning in 30 minutes, because we're wrapping up, and we're doing our shows at the moment. Make sure Paddy gets his beauty sleep, and also this thing. To have a look at the absolute. I spoke to Chewy today, and I went, Chewy, the whole clip is like it's 10 minutes, the whole thing. Do you think we should really do it? Do you think it's too long? Shall I cut it down? And Chewy, tell the lovely whānau what you texted back to me.
You can't cut down a work of art, Pat. You just can't.
So this will be the longest clip you have ever heard on this show. I think it's almost 10 minutes. But yeah, it was a sight to behold. And the thing that's most fascinating about it, not to burn or keep our powder too wet or dry, is that watching Damian Grant go, the reason you're calling Don Brash racist is because you don't like him, and not understanding that the reason they were calling Don Brash racist was from his racist statements. And no matter which way they looked at it, Damian Grant couldn't get over the hump that they were calling him racist because of the racist things he said and the group that he's running, not because they just didn't like him. Oh, Chewy, I don't like you. You're a Nazi. that's what kind of he was saying. He was saying, you're only calling him that because you disagree with him. And it's like, no, we disagree with him because his views are racist. So it was a really interesting little thing to watch. And I know several people in the chat have already seen it, but I'm sure you'll get your popcorn and you'll be keen to have a look at round 2. Also, some news out today that actually, which I thought would be bigger news. And it was on RNZ today, just as a written article. It wasn't featured in either of the news bulletins, about Te Whatu Ora, Health New Zealand, having voluntary redundancies, calling for them. So just fewer and fewer and fewer people are going to be in those offices and those buildings. So we'll have a squiz at that. But the first story we're going to look at actually has a learned experience for me today, Chippy, because I saw Chippy on breakfast this morning, and they were talking about police officers on the beat, right? And he puts out a really interesting conversation around police officers on the beat and how this government has promised more police officers on the beat and there's fewer. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is a really good get, because we can go back and we can get that clip from Mark Mitchell. I could do that. I could do that good in this voice. Hang on. Mark Mitchell. When he kind of basically said, we're going to have more officers, there's these men and that, and I thought we could play all that. And then on One News tonight, the full understanding of Labor statements came out, and it's pretty embarrassing for Labor. But you know us, we call a spade a spade. Not a good look for Labor today. But let's start off with the breakfast conversation so you can hear where we all started talking about police officers on the beat.
Mr. Hipkins, I want to move on to police data, which reveals there are 950 fewer police foot patrols since Minister Mark Mitchell took over, including in places like Opotiki from December 23rd, 2023 to June 2024. How concerned should the public be?
I mean, sounds bad, right? Sounds bad. Sounds like a cock-up by this government, but we'll keep listening.
I think that, it once again shows that the National Party talked a huge game on law and order before the election, and they're just not delivering post-election. In my area, Upper Hutt, there's been a 75% reduction in police foot patrols since National became the government. That's not going to make our community safer. Police visibility is actually an important part of communities both being safe and feeling safe, and it's going backwards under this government. At most recent count, and I haven't got the most recent up-to-date numbers, but the most recent counts showed that there were actually fewer police on the beat. There's less police now out there, out and about, than there were when this government took office, because more people have left the police force.
Now, that might be true. We're not challenging that part of it. Fewer police officers, none of that's challengeable at the moment. That's not the big part that we're going to come back to.
I don't think that's making our community safer either. And it shows that all of that pre-election rhetoric, all of the bumper sticker slogans that they were spouting before the election mean nothing, because they're not actually delivering.
The police minister sent us a statement. He says statistics fluctuate month to month for a variety of reasons, and the Christmas period has different challenges for police. That's why when you're assessing data, we try to compare like for like. Is this just a bit of politicking from your end?
I think that somewhat contradicts all of the things that Mark Mitchell was saying when he was in opposition. Suddenly he's decided, that there is fluctuation in crime statistics, that there is fluctuation in policing statistics. He didn't take that view when he was the opposition police spokesperson. And so I think, again, it shows that they were just full of hollow rhetoric before the election, and they're not actually getting on top of the situation post-election. Mark Mitchell, I don't think he really has much of an idea about what's going on in the policing portfolio.
So pretty clear, right? The conversation was pretty clear. It was like, numbers have gone down, National promise numbers would go up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In that conversation, you heard them talking about fluctuations between month to month, and you want to compare like for like. And I agree with that. The problem is what Chippy did was, look at Mark Mitchell. Sorry, look at Mark Mitchell now wanting to, not cherry pick. They used to say we cherry, but the point is, even if this is exactly what National did, it doesn't mean if you do it now, it makes it accurate. Now, from a supporter's point of view, you might want to go, but we're going to do what they did, and they did it to us, and they're bastards. Sure, but it doesn't make the numbers correct. So just to preface all of that, I just took a couple of minutes out of the story from tonight. So the big point is comparing December's foot patrol numbers to June foot patrol numbers. In December, I'm sure all of you in your teenage years and stuff have been off to the beach, New Year's Eve, for that week between Christmas and New Year's. The number of foot patrols goes through the roof. I had a batch in Northland at Mangawhai Heads. You know, there was one local police officer, and then between Christmas and New Year's, there was about 15 there, right? And I've been to Mount Maunganui a few times for New Year's Eve as well in the North Island. The numbers of police officers go through the roof. So comparing foot patrols in December to foot patrols in June is not like for like. And this is the unfortunate thing that Labour's done. They look foolish, right? And this is not to say that the other guys haven't done it. We're just saying when the other guys do this kind of thing and cherry pick, we point it out. They look foolish. And the police spokesperson for Labour, Jenny, is it Jenny Anderson? Sorry, the name just jumps out of my head. Yeah, okay. Looks extra foolish when the reporter tells her what the numbers are, and she basically does was that woman in America with alternative facts, Kellyanne Conway. She basically does a Kellyanne Conway and says, "I don't accept your numbers." So, but they're the numbers.
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chewy. I'm sorry to bring you down, but you know, we don't step away from when the left needs a kick in the ass. That's what we're here for as well.
You might have noticed lately more cops on the beat, taking to the streets on these high visibility foot patrols.
The public love it. It gives them a sense of security. They're building relationships with shopkeepers and retailers.
But Labour's claiming the numbers are falling under this government. Using police data, they compared nationwide foot patrols in December with those in June and found a 15% drop.
Police numbers are down, and also foot patrols across New Zealand are down.
What happens every December?
What happens every December is we sometimes see a peak.
Actually, as this graph shows, we always see a peak in foot patrols in December.
It's not a good look, Labour. I mean, it's not the biggest sin in the world, but it just looks foolish. Just looks foolish.
Kiwis head out to celebrate the summer. The police hit the beat too.
Do you think you're being honest, though, with the public when you're putting out these figures and you're taking December, where we know there's that spike, and comparing it to June?
When you track it across that period of time, there is an overall decline in foot patrols.
Okay, but if we compare things, if we take a slightly different period, if we compare June this year with June last year, there's a 5% increase. If we compare May last year with May this year, there's a 26% increase in foot patrols. In April, it's a 16% increase. I mean, the number of foot patrols is going up, not down.
We've seen a consistent decline, and there's a concern that particularly rural areas are seeing a decline.
Yeah, nonsense. They're cherry picking numbers.
In this government's first 7 months, there were nearly 37,000 police foot patrols. Compared to the same period the year before, that's up 10%.
So it's clear the number of foot patrols is going up.
I don't agree with your numbers.
How can you not agree with the numbers? This is off the police data website. This is the numbers.
Just because we see a spike in crime is not a sufficient reason to say that there should be fewer foot patrols. We should be seeing consistent foot patrolling across the board.
But there's way more foot patrols.
I don't agree with that.
There you go, Chewy. I mean, like I said, it's not the biggest thing in the world. You know, it's not an Uffindale report or something like that, or a Darlene Tana, but it's embarrassing. And as people have been saying in the chat, and my thing, it's the doubling down. I don't accept your numbers. The numbers that are from the official, police website. And I got to ask the question, Labour, who the fuck came up with this plan? Who sat up on whatever floor of whatever government building you're in and said, hey, here's a good idea? I mean, anyone, the most, and even the withered up old journalist who's got no journalistic skills or ability left would probably see this hole, Joey.
Yeah, like if it's easy enough for Mark Mitchell to bat away, it's not good enough. Like there are heaps that you could criticize National on around how they're handling the police. Personally, I would just hammer the point of how many police are we losing to Australia every week?
Yeah.
How many? How many are leaving? How many are taking early retirement?
Yeah.
Just hammer that one single incontrovertible proof that most of them are heading overseas. I mean, even anecdotally, as someone that was very critical of this whole focus on foot patrols and it's all about the front line and that sort of thing, and back office has no value. Here in Dunedin, I've noticed the difference. I work in the CBD. Obviously, there are other factors at play here as well. We had, unfortunately, a teenager stabbed and killed in our bus hub towards the start of the year. So the police have been visible. In the past couple of years, it was very rare to see a couple of cops walking up and down the CBD. Now I see them literally every day. So there is a change there, and I agree with Mark Mitchell, as much as that pains me, that it does give people a sense of safety.
Yeah.
Might not actually be true, and we'll see when we've got some actual stats. But if Labour are going to flub something this basic as comparing like for like, busy period, quiet period, then they're going to keep getting smacked with this. And this is why we criticize it when they fuck it up, is we need this government to be a one-term government, and we need all of our opposition parties to be on their A game.
Yeah.
And Ginny, I like you, but that was not your A game. That was bad.
Yeah. And look, people in the chat, right? Why aren't they doing this to Luxon? Says Ro. That'll be talking about the journalists. It's a bit pig-headed. It sounds like my ex's mother-in-law. Label is operating on vibes. Takes the focus off the extra 500 police. How are they getting on with that? She just kept digging. Labor using misleading stats. Now, the thing about this, right, is all of the questions about what they should be focusing on, the 500 police, what Luxon's up to, is correct, right? You're correct to say, if you think that the media is marking Luxon on a curve for those things, that's correct and that's fair. But what we can't do, me and Chewy, when I say we doing the show, we can't go, well, they're just so unfair to Labour, so who cares if they're unfair to National? Like, right is right and wrong is wrong. Good data is good data. Massage data is massage data. I don't care what the mainstream media does or other media do. We will look at the data and the facts, and we'll say, left, you've done very well. Left, you've done very poorly. Right, very rare that happens. Right, you've done very poorly. And if we don't, we just become one of those fake actors pretending to be all neutral and stuff, where we have a bias. We just tell you what our bias is, but you know what? In some part, I want to hold the left more accountable, because they're my peeps. I'm like, sort your shit out. Like on the right, keep doing the stuff that's not working. Go for it. But on the left, you don't have the grace or the space to make balls ups, because, as Chewy said, if this was going to be a one-term government, you got to get it right first time. And as someone who sits on the left, I will hold you more accountable, because you're my peeps, and I want you there. And if he balls it up, then you're not going to be there. I don't care if the right balls it up. They go for it. But if the left balls it up, then that impacts what I think would be a better country and a better led country, Chewy.
Yeah. I think if you're going to go after National on their policing, if they're going to hold up the fact of like, hey, do you remember seeing foot patrols? National made that happen. If you can get someone like me that's been very critical of this to admit that I have seen foot patrols in my area a lot more often, then Labour need to hold this up and go, well, here's a reason why you're seeing those increased foot patrols, because we've looked at the numbers and it is correct. What's happening to percentage of burglaries solved? What's happening to family harm call-outs? Are we seeing more foot patrols for the touchy-feely stuff, and these other things are just tanking because we don't have the officers to be across it? That's what Labour needs to show. They need to show the cost of what could be charitably or uncharitably, I don't know, a national PR drive using our police to be visible, so they can point at them at election time and go, you saw more cops, you saw them, we did that. Law and order.
Yep. And I think, like, for example, the 500 cops, I don't think they're going to get anywhere near 500 new police officers. So keep diving into the stuff that does matter. Keep pointing out what is happening. And to be honest with you, at the moment, there's so much you can criticize and critique this national-led government for. I remember having this conversation, mate, Chewy, with a friend of mine when I was more involved in the religious world, yeah? And someone sent out one of those memes, and it was about Hamas. And I was like, look at these people from Hamas. Look at them marrying children. You know, and all the people from Hamas are files, you know, that word that gets you kicked off all sorts of things, files. Peter, those Irish guys, Peterophile. And I took 3 minutes to Google it because it didn't quite sit right with me, because I was like, if you were that kind of person, if you were that kind of group, you wouldn't let these photos go anywhere. And within 2 minutes, I found that within that culture, flower girls, they wear the identical dress to the brides, just a mini version of it. That's how they do it. And I said to my friends, I said, you know, if truth is on your side, if you are the righteous person, if you have the moral high ground, you don't need to make shit up, right? You don't need to make shit up, because when you make shit up, it just makes you look like you're as bad as the people who you are saying are bad for the country or bad for the whatever. So Labour, you don't need to make shit up. Just the facts, ma'am. That's all you need with these guys as it is. Just the facts. Anyway.
Absolutely. And look, I ask the real questions. Where's Police Dog Sniff? It's been years since. Has he gone to Australia? That's what we need to know. If we've lost Constable Sniff to the Aussies.
No, sorry. Can I just say one thing? Police Dog Sniff. Sorry to disturb you all, but he'd be dead by now. I mean, dogs live 12 to 14 years. Sorry, guys.
It's a puppet.
Police Dog Sniff has snuffed it. It's now Police Dog Snuffed. That's what his name is. Sorry. Let's do some chat, shall we?
Sorry, kids.
Sorry, kids. Let's do some chats.
Okay.
What's coming?
Are you doing it, or
you're doing it? Because I'm going to go have a wee cough, I think.
No, that's what I figured. Kiwi Bib, $3 3-minute late fee.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
David Thompson with the $5 super chat. Good call picking a theme song that sounds good at 2 times speed. Fantastic.
That's about the opening song. Actually, we're going to change, because we've given I haven't actually paid that one out yet, but it's lucky we sort of are connected to the person who won it. So it's coming. Maybe I'll try and do it tomorrow. Actually, there's going to be a 30-second version coming as well. It's going to be the introduction music. We just need to connect. I'm afraid my connection skills haven't been that good in the last 10 days. My sleeping skills have been fantastic though. And my sweating skills, man, I've been sweating through everything. It's like, it's a great way to lose weight, is get COVID, get sick, and sweat kilos off every single week. Sorry, next.
Marta with the $2 super chats. Hobson's pledge will love her. Obviously referring to Candace there. Brett with the $5 super chat. Can't wait to see your take on Hooton and last night's working group. Calling it out. Awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
We're fizzing. It's amazing. Peter with the $2 there. I hope our side have learned from this mistake.
Yeah. I'd be fascinated to find out how that actually happened. Because if it was someone else giving the information to Ginny, that's the ultimate. I'm sorry to use a sporting analogy here, Chewy, but hospital pass. You know, hospital pass is when you throw someone in the back line, a big loopy pass, and the ball arrives just as the tackler gets here and just smashes them. That's what that was. If that's someone else's data being given to Jeanette, go do it, go sell it, then it's a hospital pass. But who decided that would be a good attack line? You just need to go have a cup of tea and a lie down, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ian Fraser with the $5. If one is objective, then one holds a position. Not having an opinion is the antithesis of being objective. Sorry for being late.
Oh, that's all right, Ian. We'll forgive it this once. We'll forgive you being late only one time, though. Just this once.
And then not super chats and that, but basically a few very similar comments here. DIY Guru says, my wife works in mental health, as there's far less police support available for mental health emergencies. She believes that that's due to more police being moved into walking the beat.
Right. Well, they did actually say, I think that's what they said. They were taking it from mental health. I remember that being a conversation.
Which is like, yeah. Like police turning up to mental health crisis and that sort of thing is not necessarily a great thing, but we don't have anything else.
No.
Like, and now we have less than nothing. So that doesn't seem to be a great trade-off for cops to be out flying the flag, so your local coffee shop feels a little bit more comfy. Yeah. But this is what Labor needs to be focusing on. This is what Ginny Anderson needs to be focusing on. Not looking at 10 or 15% changes in a 6-month period. Show us the damage.
Yeah,
Show us what's going wrong there.
Plenty of data out there that will, paint this government in a bad light and the light that they deserve to be painted. And you don't have to go massaging the facts. There's plenty of actual facts out there that, look, this is like what I'm saying. You don't have to make shit up. When you make shit up, you lose the moral high ground. You lose credibility. Just stick to the facts, especially when you can see as many bad facts in society that this government is creating. You don't need to go making shit up. Right? You don't need to go massaging stuff. Just get the actual data out there, show the people, and get back into election mode for 20. You should be in election mode now, Labor. You should be running in election mode now. 2026. Yeah. All right.
And just a very quick update on Sniff. He's actually retired with Thingy on the Gold Coast. So
Thingy,
not dead.
do you know Thingy?
All
Thingy's
is well.
got
All is well. All is well. All is well.
No, I just think Thingy got cataracts from his eyes falling out so often. Eventually, it took a permanent toll. And so he has to read by Braille now.
Sickness has made you dark.
All right. We're going to keep going, guys. This is a bit of a short one. I actually thought this would be a bigger story. I really did, because I think it's pretty huge. This is on Health New Zealand, Te Whatu Ora's website. Health New Zealand offers voluntary redundancy to some staff. Some points here. At this stage, the option of expressing interest in voluntary redundancy is available to employees who are: number one, employed under individual employment agreements, which are not in coverage of collective employment agreements, or in a role within coverage of the new PSA and specialist workers collective agreement, in a role with coverage of the PSA National Health Administration workers. So you've got specialist workers, administration workers, employed on an individual employment agreement with terms and conditions derived from the PSA PACS, so they are calling for redundancies. This off RNZ today. Health New Zealand is asking for voluntary redundancies from admin and advisory staff. So remember, we talked about this once before, and we were hearing about doctors having to do a bunch of their own booking. And I was like, can you imagine that $400 an hour specialist now having to make sure his calendar's up to date because some of the admin staff had gone? That's what we want to spend our tax money on. $400 an hour specialist, making sure his diary's up to date. From admin and advisory staff ahead of yet more looming job cuts at the cash-strapped agency. Well, we should always remember the only reason it's cash-strapped is that this government has chosen for it to be cash-strapped after giving away $14 billion in tax cuts and $3 billion in landlord refunds. In an email to staff on Wednesday that has been published on Te Whatu Ora's website, Chief Executive Margie Upper said to be sustainable, the public health system needed to live within its budgets. I think what that means is, for my job, right, as a chief executive, to be sustainable, I have to keep you within these budgets that this government has set, with are arbitrary, because they could be more if they chose to be. Just so we're getting that out there and getting it clear. That means we need to move towards being a more efficient organization, focusing our resources on the delivery of frontline healthcare, Upper said. It's now clear the initiatives already in place will not by themselves resolve the financial issue or ensure we have the right people in the right places. As staff costs accounted for the biggest chunk of expenditure, Te Whatu Ora needed to further review its size and structure as part of its reset, Upper wrote. Talking about what it would mean, we've got some response to this. The move comes as Te Whatu Ora continues to work through the previously announced restructuring to its commissioning team, which involves axing 268 roles. The total number of staff in commissioning has shrunk from 1,000 to 750 in the first round of restructuring to now 482. The Public Service Association labelled the offer of voluntary redundancy as rash and reckless, unfocused, and wide-ranging. According to the union, teams impacted include administrators, procurement, and supply chain, information, analytics and research, policy and programs, as well as communications, finance, and HR. National Secretary Kerry Davis said losing hundreds of specialist staff to meet government-imposed spending cuts would further destabilize the public health system. Excuse me. Just as they did for other public services, the politicians targeted people working behind the scenes because they think they can get away with it, she said. But clinicians and are well aware patient care depends on administrators, IT support, and logistics workers. This workforce was under huge pressure due to the hiring freeze in health, Davies said. We're already hearing horrifying stories of 72-hour wait times. I saw a news item in one of the papers today. Someone waited at an A&E yesterday for 16 hours to get seen. 16 hours in A&E.
And then, what happened then, Pat?
I don't know. I just saw the headline. And then what happened?
Oh, she was referred back to her GP.
Oh, very good. And worse for mental health care, gouging at foundations of an already stretched to breaking system will mean people won't get the care they need. The New Zealand Nurses Organisation said the offer to take voluntary redundancy was, quote, in breach of the established consultation process. So, Chewy, I thought that would be a bigger story today, but no other agency seemed to pick it up. RNZ covered it very well, though. Yours, sir.
This lie that they're going to stick to, that the problem is that our health service can't stick within its budget. Like, that's the biggest problem. We're on the tail end of a global pandemic. We have a growing population,
aging
population as well.
Yep.
We're having to import health staff, but then suddenly with the change of a government, that's all irrelevant, and suddenly it's just because our health service is riddled with inefficiencies, which seem to be the people that do the bookings and shuffle the paper, but it's also going to blow back on nurses, clinicians, and specialists. One of the things that I saw pop up, and look, I'm going to bring it up because our mainstream media is happy to crawl Reddit for stories.
Yep.
So I'm going to do it as well. More lies from Health New Zealand. I work at a hospital in Auckland. Obviously, I'm not going to identify myself. Recently, one of the longest serving and most respected neurologists has not had his contract with Health New Zealand renewed for next year. I've heard that this decision was made in a back office in Wellington without consultation with the local neurology department. This is a massive blow to healthcare in the Auckland region, and understandably, many people are very upset.
Yeah,
so this is one anecdotal story. Obviously, can't be verified for whatever reason, but I see no reason why someone would say all of this.
It doesn't sound far-fetched, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were talking about it before we went to air. It's not like you can pop down to your local polytech and just pick up a spare neurologist when you need one. You know, and then if it becomes a crisis, and we desperately need to attract someone in short order because this stupid decision's been made, and this neurologist who hasn't had his contract renewed goes to somewhere that wants him, we have to pay over the barrel to get someone quickly. It's just so short-sighted.
Yeah.
And I think when people are making these sort of rash, reckless, wide-ranging decisions at such short notice, with such a big public service as our healthcare system,
yeah,
it's us that's going to be paying the price. It's the people that are lining up in A&E. It's the people that have an issue that would require a skilled neurologist. Now they don't have one in that region. Now the wait list is even longer.
Yeah.
Is that issue something that is growing, worsening, becoming more expensive, potentially deadly?
Yeah.
No, but we've got to worry about the budgets, and we've got to worry about the tax cuts that we promised, and they are the only thing that isn't on the chopping block. That's where the value is.
The other thing is it might not be that there's now no neurologist, but there might now be one instead of two. So that waiting line goes and doubles immediately. Kim says, I work in health. Admin staff are the glue. They coordinate and sort everything. When you don't have an admin person, everything falls apart. Admin pay is awfully low. Also, Rose says, I have a son working in one of those departments Pat just mentioned. Today, he said to me, if he's made redundant, then they've gone so deep, the system is fucked. I guess that means if they go all the way to her son, that's so deep into the system, then the system is broken. I won't say beyond repair, but, it's completely broken.
Well, that might be the aim. They want to gut the service so hard that the only way that can be solved is with an overseas private expert coming in to save the day, because we never perceived that this would become a cascading point of failure that this government has made. They have engineered this crisis.
Just on Ella's conversation there, we said we were slightly tongue-in-cheek, weren't we, Chewy? We were slightly tongue-in-cheek. 10,000 by the end of the month. If you are someone who is watching right now,
that's so fucking close,
who hasn't yet subscribed, maybe I'll just wait. See, I've got this little thing behind that people are quite keen to see. Maybe what should we do? Like when we get 5 more subs, we'll then move on. Other than that, we won't. No, I'm just kidding. But we're pretty close. I know. Hey, welcome to the show. I know it's an arbitrary thing, but it's a nice little target to hit 10,000. We could get there. I think there's 3 days to go. That'd be, what is that? 80, 70. That'd be 23 a day, which is probably not far off what we normally get. So if you're watching this live, or you are watching this on demand, or even listening to us, then head to the DOC studios. Look at that, going on and on and on. People took me seriously that I wasn't going to keep going. And feel free to subscribe. Now, and also, look, this sounds a bit dumb, but I mean, don't subscribe if you're just going to unsubscribe. I mean, we want you to be a part of what we do. Subscribe to us. Hit that notification bell so you know when we're live and you know when special things are coming up. And we do have a couple of special things in the pipeline that might be.
Look at this engagement, Pat.
I know.
This engagement is off the chain.
Should we go one more, or should we get out of here? Okay, look, it's going. It's going.
Here we're locked in.
Is anyone going to get it?
The number's going to spin.
Is it going to go? Is it going to go one more time?
Number goes. Yay!
So thank you. That's something we'll get to. We are going to go straight to that now, but let's just go. I don't understand the super chat, but thank you for it. Jenny Pooh's answers. If you want to interpret that for me, Chewy from Campbell, thank you for the.
Oh, that'll be about our opposition police spokesman with her Pooh's answers.
Oh, Jenny, gotcha. Tawhiri, Nat's changing our country to austerity 2.0, OS 2.0 austerity. Yep, no, it's not far off the truth. Mata says Whangarei Council asked our head cop if we were going to get more beat cops. He answered the police appreciated the council employing wardens, and there would be 6 more traffic officers coming. All right. And Peter says, if you want a Ferrari neurologist, what about a Toyota one? No. If you need a neurologist, I want the best. Yeah, that's fair. It's funny how they politicians say stupid things and they just come back to continually haunt them, eh? Ferrari and secondhand. It wasn't even Corolla one, though, remember? It's a secondhand Corolla. I don't know how you have a secondhand neurologist, but, whatever. All right. Anything, Chewy, you want to say before we get into the main part of the show?
The main event.
Main event. Ding, 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 ding.
The top card. Let's set the stage. We all know adversary number 1, twice convicted fraudster Damian Grant. There we go. That's so good. Someone that stuff continually goes to for just some of the most unhinged political opinions I've ever seen. And then we have the contender, Matthew Hooton, puppet master of the right, someone who seems to just keep on putting up prime ministerial candidates left, right, and centre. So we shouldn't like the guy. We shouldn't like him. But every now and then he says something that I go, you know what? That's fair. You're on the right, but sometimes you say some things that I don't hate. And then there's what happened on the working group this week,
So
which
I
has
learned something.
ascended into some other plane.
I learned something last night. I didn't know the origins of Hobson's Pledge. I didn't realize that's what it all was about. If you also don't know the origins of Hobson's Pledge, the name of the group, this will learn you. This will learn you. But also, when you hear what the origins of Hobson's Pledge is, you will see just how ridiculous their claims are. Ladies and gentlemen, in the left corner, we'll do that left corner, the blue corner,
Temporarily left.
we will give you Comrade Matthew Hooton versus Damian Grant. And, if for no other reason, just the absolute dismissive way he called him a dickhead just makes it all worthwhile.
I think it's fair to say that Hobson's Pledge is a profoundly dishonest organisation based on a lie. I think that's all true.
What's a lie?
I just weren't going to have that happen. I think.
Look at that.
Oh,
eh?
it jumped.
It jumped. Didn't it jump for us? It didn't jump much, though.
What's the lie? Damien demands.
All right.
Haughtily from the
Sorry,
balcony.
team. Well, the space will
Bring
start
me
again. Here we
through.
go. Here we go.
Fair to say that Hobson's Pledge is a profoundly dishonest organisation based on a lie. I think that's all true.
What's a lie?
The whole lie that Hobson Pledge is based upon is that apparently Hobson stuttered somehow to the Maoris when he was signing the thing, saying,
That's right.
He said in Te Reo, we are all one people, apparently. Now, I don't know whether Hobson said that or not, but it's not in the text. And so it seems quite pathetic and indicates that the whole campaign is in fact based upon racism and white supremacy, that instead of even beginning from the...
Boom! I mean, the right don't like those terms. They don't like those terms. I was shocked to hear Matthew Hooton come out straight out with those terms, Joey. Now, listen, we can't jump in and out too long or we will be here till 11 o'clock, but sure.
It's a 45-minute clip, isn't it?
All right.
Campaign is in fact based upon racism and white supremacy, that instead of even beginning from the text of what was signed on that day, we're going to go to some legend that the white guy who had been in New Zealand for 5 days, apparently stuttered in Maori, that we are now one people. And we're going to base our whole organisation, our whole political position on that. And the only reason you would do that is because you were dishonest and you were wanting to, in a Trump-like way, create racial division and hatred in New Zealand for your own personal gain, which does seem to have been what Don Brash has sought to do, sadly, ever since I made him leader of the National Party. He was one of the world's top monetary economists.
I'm going to defend Don Brash. I don't think Don Brash is racist. I think you can disagree with Don Brash's worldview. Think that
he's also pro-Chinese now at the moment as well.
You can think that he's wrong on that, but I think it is wrong to make the allegation.
Don Brash believes it is not. Don Brash believes, I would have thought, in contract law. And he has made a huge issue of the Treaty of Waitangi.
Yes. And
right from his own despicably racist overview speech that he gave only to try and do the worst things in New Zealand society.
I've just finished watching a television series called Travellers, where people from the future download their intelligence into someone in the 21st century. And I'm like, is it real? And has it happened here? Has someone come back from the future to fill in this man's body to put these kind of comments out there? I mean, Chloe couldn't have said it better. You know what I'm saying?
This reminded me, I'm like, has he been reading my notes? He's gone off the fucking chain here. He's like despicably racist, liars, white supremacists.
Yeah.
Yes, mate. Get it.
All right, here we go.
Gave only to try and fuel the worst things in New Zealand society. And I was against it then and I'm against it now. He has claimed that Hobson uttered these words, "We are one people." And he has claimed that defined what the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi and the Treaty of Waitangi itself should be. Why would what some person utters at the signing ceremony on one side of the
Suddenly
deal
mean everything?
Why would you call your organisation Hobson's Pledge unless you were racist?
But how do
why
you,
would you do that?
How do you get the conclusion? So I don't know anything about that particular issue. You may be right.
That's the whole basis of the organisation and the 20 years of debate, dickhead.
But steady on.
Well,
but
you know,
we'll do it again. Here we go. We're going to do it again.
How do you get the conclusion? So I don't know anything about that particular issue. You may be right.
That's the whole basis of the organisation and the 20 years of debate, dickhead.
But about that particular issue, you may be right.
That's the whole basis of the organisation and the 20 years of debate, dickhead.
But about that particular issue, you may be right.
That's the whole basis of the organisation and the 20 years of debate, dickhead.
But steady on.
Well, but get some reality.
So erect. Only get so erect.
All right.
Here, these people are not acting with integrity. They do not act with integrity.
Here's the thing, right? Now, I saw there was a lot of chat. I was watching the chat on the side of this when you go and watch the working group. And it seems that the Labour Party or some Labour associated group was in there as well, talking about Hooton being a double agent. But look at his face. He is beetroot red. He is angry about this. This doesn't feel like a show. Now, it confuses me more about who he is as a person than his politics, but he is angry right now. And you can see this would be an Oscar award from the performance if this was a double agent thing. He is angry. He goes beet red, and it's just, it doesn't seem to be a put on. It fascinates me as to what it means about him and who he is, but this is not a put on. This is his personal beliefs, and he is, maybe he's a bit like what we said before. Maybe he's so angry when the right fuck up, because that's where he sits at. He holds them to a higher level. I mean, that's kind of what I said about us when Labour fucks up, you know? Maybe that's it. Don't know, but there's something.
I think that's it. I've seen comments from him along this line where he's like, he's economically on the right? And he sees his team going down this path of white supremacy and racism as a distraction from what their core mission should be, which is to be economically right.
Yeah.
Okay. What I see here is he's not faking it.
Yeah.
This is furious anger. As that comment just said. And I think this cuts to a point. Is like bundling up race relations as a left and right issue is wrong.
Yeah.
It is wrong, and it is a distraction for his side, and he can see it. Like, Hooton's not a dumb guy. This guy has been around for ages. He's been a playmaker for some very powerful people. And I think he is a smart operator.
Yeah.
And I give him so many props for going this hard on this issue. We need more of it.
Yeah.
I can disagree with him on a bunch of other things, but here right now, I'm in absolute lockstep with him.
Yep. The thing you just said there, and pardon me if I paraphrase, is race relations should not be a left and right thing. And that's probably what he's coming up with. All right, we're going to keep going, yeah?
You are saying that an individual is...
I am. And I said that to his face, and I've had lunch with him, and I've had lunch with his creepy friends, and they are.
If you were going to say somebody is racist, then I think you need to find evidence that they have done. No, you are saying...
No, and this is the point where... So I believe Matthew Hooton's being genuine here. I don't know if Damian Grant is, because this is the part where Damian Grant basically says, but if he's racist, can you cite anywhere he's been racist, which Hooton's just done? And then Damian Grant goes, well, just because you disagree with someone doesn't give you the right to call them racist. And I feel like it's the other way around. It's like, oh, you're only calling him racist because you disagree with him. It's like, no, we're disagreeing with him because he's racist. And Grant doesn't seem to be able to get that, or is choosing not to. Now, I believe Hooton is being genuine. I don't know if Grant is.
Yeah. Damien here digs himself a defensive position and will not budge. He's in there like a tick. It's the only thing that he's got. He falls back on it, I think, about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
That you're just calling him a racist because you disagree. And no. And I think this is very clearly articulated by Matthew.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep going.
He's based his organization.
He has based his whole political career for 20 years on what are ultimately trivial matters when taken individually,
but
in
how
the
is
scheme
that-
of things
how is it
compared with
trivial?
productivity and our economic and our social challenges, these things broadly don't even matter. Right?
You might, yeah, but you. Okay.
So why would
No,
you make
I just-
them?
I
Why
just-
would you make them your number one issue for so long and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on advertising and all your energy when you are one of the world's greatest monetary economists, unless you had an obsession with these issues that is unhealthy and revealing of something very, very disturbing?
Because maybe in Don Brash's worldview, these issues are not trivial.
Well, that is
maybe in his worldview, these issues are significant.
So
maybe in
what way are they significant?
Because
the foreshore and seabed, no one has ever been denied access to a beach. Who cares? Don't you believe in private ownership? The other thing that can be said about Hobson's Pledge is it is a communist organisation in that it is seeking to nationalise land that could be privately owned. That is the whole co-proper.
Just come back to your original point.
Why would you, if you're a right-wing monetary economist, back a communist organization, create and invent a communist organisation?
That is not the issue. You are.
Yeah, look. I actually want to stand up for Damian Grant here because Matthew, if you keep bringing up a new fact followed by a new fact by a new fact, and he's incapable of answering the first fact, you got to give him a chance to stumble over the first fact before you hit him with those 2 or 3 or 4 other truths. It's just not fair. Where's our thing from the Simpsons? Stop hitting him. He's dead. It's perfect time to play that one.
That this specific individual is racist, and you are saying he's racist because he's taking an issue in the Treaty of Waitangi that you fundamentally disagree with.
He doesn't get it. He lies about it and misrepresents it, and he's not so stupid that he can believe what he's saying.
There are no shortage of people who lie and misrepresent the Treaty of Waitangi.
And you would think they do it on.
And so this is also where Damien Grant shows his whole ass. He basically goes, but this is what politicians do. They lie to us all the time. Like he says it like we have to accept that. Right? He says it like, so he's lying. He doesn't, and goes, so they all do it. It's like, no. That's what when you become a dishonest actor, right? That's what I was saying about us earlier. We're not going to do that. We're not going to go because National does this cherry picking stuff. We're okay with Labor doing it. No, we're not okay with anybody doing it. Right? If they all lie, then we've got to call them all out. We don't just throw our hands up in the air after our 14th cigarette smoke break and go, well, they all do it. And as some kind of defense, it's not okay. It's not going to happen.
On something important, and rather than what Hobson uttered to some.
And if you are going to say that this person is racist, well, I've got 2 issues. Number 1, I don't think Don Brash is racist. Issue number 2, if you think Don Brash is wrong, then say why he's wrong. Why is he wrong?
Because he's backing a communist approach based upon something that Hobson may have said, rather than beginning with textual analysis. Like
you're falling into the same trap of Te Pati Murray.
Don't be a dick.
If you think Hobson, if you think that Don Brash is wrong, then say why he's wrong.
He's wrong
because
he has.
Outline the issue that you think he's wrong.
He has.
That you think he's got wrong on the.
He doesn't believe in property rights.
There is no reason to go down the track that because I disagree with this person on this issue, ipso facto that person must be racist.
No, that's not what we're doing at all. That's not what we're doing.
No, I shouldn't be doing that because he cannot. Because I have discussed this with him over the years.
Yes,
he cannot believe the things he says.
But that is true of so many people in public life. But I don't.
They all do it. But they all do it.
To that point, we cheapen and we devalue the quality of conversation. When we go out there and we say, I disagree with what you are saying, and I'm going to infer from that some ill will, some failure of character. But that doesn't advance the discourse.
There is a failure of character.
But there's a failure in character in saying, I don't like what you're saying, therefore you are a bad human being. That Matthew is also a failure of character. Disagree with what he is saying.
These people are bad.
Disagree with what he is saying.
And because of the things they say.
Stop there. Just disagree with what he is saying and stay there. Don't go around and say that this person is.
Why when Damien Grant, his ilk are against the fence, all of a sudden they need to disagree politely. But when he goes on attack, fuck feelings.
Oh, yeah.
My feelings don't care about my facts. You know, like when he's on the attack, but all of a sudden when he's on the defensive, it's like, well, just be kind when you're saying things. You know, just at least be reasonable when you're critiquing things. It's incredible how the right, who are the biggest snowflakes, when they're on the back foot, they want everyone just to speak kindly and agree to disagree. But when they're on the attack, they're like, fuck your feelings. If you've got bad feelings about this, your problem. It's a classic example of it.
Because of the things they say.
Stop there. Just disagree with what he's saying and stay there. Don't go around and say that this person is fundamentally a bad person because of what they've said.
He is a fundamentally bad person. He's divided this country for no apparent reason, despite being certainly intelligent enough to know the things that he says are not true. He cannot possibly, just as David Seymour cannot possibly believe that his racist treaty principles bill reflects in any way whatsoever either the texts or the case law over the Treaty of Waitangi. He isn't that stupid. He's doing it to inflame hatred in New Zealand.
So you're saying that David Seymour is deliberately fanning race hatred?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's I don't. But again.
Now, the last part to go, this only got 2 minutes to go now, is just I want you also to enjoy this fight, but also enjoy Bomber doing his utmost to try and get back into the conversation unsuccessfully as well, by the way. It's beautiful. And I'm sure Bomber will think it's beautiful as well.
Seymour is deliberately fanning race hatred?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's there. I don't. But again, you're not disagreeing with this.
I am. I just told you.
He's disagreeing with the substance.
The substance is that what he is saying is a lie about what either the text says or the jurisprudence, and he knows that what he is saying is a lie.
There are lots of people that I disagree with, and I think the worldview is wrong. I don't go around saying that because I disagree with that person, I'm going to infer from them
not because I disagree.
Fundamental malice in their.
It's not because I disagree.
He's gone back to this.
It's because they must be lying. They cannot believe those things because they are so far divorced from it. It is like as if Don Brash all of a sudden or some socialist decided to say that printing money in the absence of potential output in the economy doesn't cause inflation. These things there's no discussion to be had here. These people aren't wishing to have a discussion. They don't have a discussion. They say things which they know to be 100%. Untrue in order to create a reaction, usually from the liberal left, in order to inflame hatred in New Zealand. And
it's this idea that be careful with what they say as well, because what they say sometimes sounds reasonable. We're all equal. We just want to ask questions, and it's actually sometimes it's very nefarious, actions behind those words, and it's sort of what Matt's saying here as well.
Create a reaction, usually from the liberal left, in order to inflame hatred in New Zealand, because that is their path to getting further votes.
But that describes the entire political establishment.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
I mean,
no, it doesn't.
You were
these are the worst people.
You were earlier saying that Chris Luxon doesn't necessarily believe the things that he's saying.
Well, he doesn't. He's an absolute imbecile. That's different.
But that is you should. So again. You disagree with what Luxon has to say.
Well,
I don't like a lot of what Luxon says, but I'm not going to drive down to the assumption that he is, as a consequence of that, there is some fundamental flaw in his character.
There's not.
I'm going to engage in a willing suspension of disbelief that everybody I disagree with is doing so from some degree of good faith. Because if I go around there and say I disagree.
There's a huge difference here. He's trying to say that people who he disagrees with are still doing it from a position of good faith. I would say a lot of the stuff that's going on in government, especially things like the Treaty Principles Bill, is not coming from a place of good faith. I really, really believe it's not. I really believe that it's coming from a place of malice, and it's coming from a place of self-serving, self-interest, not from a place of good faith. And again, I don't know whether Damian Grant is stupid enough to actually think everyone is acting in good faith, or he's, strange word to use for him, naive to think, oh, well, everyone's just being, nice about this, or he's actually being nefarious and just trying to sell that. I don't know. I can't read him. I don't know. But I do not accept that we should first take our position that everyone's acting in good faith. What you do is you analyze the situation in front of you, and you use your brain, and you use what you know, and you then make a determination on whether you think they're coming to you in good faith or not. You don't just go, good faith, straight away, because if you do that, you're going to get shat on time and time and time and time again. I'll tell you what, the left are bad at that. The left are bad at going on in good faith, because the left are the tree hugging, love everybody, let's get along, and the right are like, fuck you, I'm gonna run you over as I get to my goal. And it's something that the left do badly. They probably do that good faith thing too much, and they don't step back enough and actually analyze it. And the right are actually the ones who just like, I don't care whether it's good or bad faith, I'll just do what I want to do to win. You want to say anything there, Cho? We've got about 60 seconds to go with this.
I do before I lose my thought. I have seen Damian Grant fired up this much. Like he often will more talk from a position of ideology, right? I have seen him fired up this much precisely 2 times. Right. This time, and when there was the discussion around Israel. So those are his button issues.
Yeah.
Like, and he knows that he hasn't got an ideological high point to defend from. So he's gotten angry, he's gotten rattled, and he's tried to latch on to the only point that he thinks that it is, that Matthew Hooton, someone that has an enormous amount of experience in moving around some of the top political figures of this country, somehow has devolved into, I don't like Don Brash, someone he's worked with before, so is therefore going to call him racist, which is the most simplistic attack point I have ever seen. I think that Hooton is dropping bombs from a personal point of view that he knows is 100% rock solid. I think he has absolutely nailed the fact. This is why Seymour has been so calm around all of these parties saying, look, we're not supporting the treaty's principle bill past its first reading, all of that sort of thing. He does not care. His whole aim on the treaty's principle bill is to push this argument out into the public sphere and kick off racial division because it gets votes. That's his only position.
All right,
that's the goal.
Let's get this last 60 seconds. Here we go.
Everybody I disagree with is doing so from some degree of good faith. Because if I go around there and say, I disagree with what you are saying, therefore you are, that is the extension of what you are saying. You are saying that because Don Brash says stuff that you don't believe, Brash is smart, he must be lying. That's what you're saying.
They're not things which I either agree or disagree with. They are things which are not true.
Yeah. But that is your perspective.
No. I believe in objective facts. Well, no. I believe that what the Treaty of Waitangi says...
If somebody does not accept your version of objective facts, they are lying, and if they are lying, they are a bad person.
No, they would, after 20 years, come up with some evidence other than the fact that Hobson might have stuttered in his halting Maori that we are one people. That's the only piece of evidence that has ever been given by that racist and corrupt group.
Okay, we are running down the clock.
We must.
There we go. Oh, good on you, Bomber. Bomber got control eventually. So there you go. Fascinating. And so many people in the chat who hadn't seen that as well. I'm glad we got a chance to show it to you because it was. I'm fascinated by Matthew Hooton. I think actually maybe, Chewy, you hit it on the head. I think maybe he's such like a, I don't know, is it Milton Friedman? The kind of world of economics that, because in that same show, I think he talked about getting rid of all the bureaucracy. He's so keen for that maybe these things that paint the part of politics that would bring that ideology he agrees with in, making these big swings, other things that are making them look like racists and idiots. It's taking away from the ability to get the economic things out that he wants to do. Maybe that's it. I think we should. I'll fire a note to Bomber and ask for his details and see if we can get him on, because it'd be fascinating to hear more about how he thinks.
What I feel there is like Matthew Hooton is someone that has worked with Don Brash before. You know, he mentions he helped make him National Party leader. So what I see there is the anger that comes from a sense of betrayal. He called him one of the greatest economic minds of our generation.
And he wasn't being sarcastic. He wasn't being sarcastic.
And I don't know enough about economics to know if that's true, but he was Reserve Bank governor for a long time over a pretty traumatic time in New Zealand. He navigated us through that. So maybe that's true. So I think that's coming from a God. You have wasted your potential on this trivialing side issue that you shouldn't have even touched.
Yeah.
And now it's kicked off all of the shit that just makes my job harder. And the thing is that we have this position of we need to honor Te Tiriti from a big mover in the right-wing sphere.
Yeah.
And then Damian Grant was also there, yapping like a terrier. And Bomber was also in the room. Now, you've known Bomber personally for a very long time. I've listened to Bomber for many, many, many years. I have never seen him in a position of not being able to get a word in either way. And the entire time that
you could see, I was watching Bomber and you could see what he was doing. He tried to cut back in and then Matt Hooton would say something and he stepped away because he's like, this is an important point. I'll just let this keep on going. No, very much so.
He chose his moment very well, and that was like you guys in the chat yesterday. You hit us straight from the start of like, have you seen the working group? Have you seen the working group? Have you seen the working group? I think Frosty sent it to me on the Discord saying, "Chewy, you got to see this." I watched it immediately after the show last night and was on the edge of my seat. And that was the second time that I've seen it, and it is still just as stunning to see it play out again.
Maybe we'll do a best of the week on Thursday night and play it again, Joey?
I would love it if we could get Matthew on to talk about that.
All right, we'll give it a go. Not this week though. I'm not doing extra work this week, but I'll put the feelers out for some stage next week or when we can. Cool.
He's an interesting dude just generally, but this again, we tend to put race relations in the left wing, right wing sphere, and I don't think it should be. And I think if you do have someone on that right wing space traditionally that is arguing that the treaty is important, you can't. This is someone where you need to go, look, I might disagree with you on some things here, but we need to be united in this. 100%. We can't have seabed and foreshore 2.0. We can't have a redefining for political aims of one of the founding documents of this country. We just can't.
Right. Hey, we've just had a producer turn up for us. Raywin says the fact that someone on the so far on the right sees what's going on with HP and Seymour gives me hope. Yep, so that's cool. But there's this one here. I actually haven't seen it. So Frosty has chosen to do a super chat for $2. Thank you for that. 58.40 on the working group for Matthew's very good final word. Okay, you can produce the show for us. I haven't seen it. This is from 58.34.
It is very good. Yep.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen this part of it. So I was editing today and just looked at the side. Let's have a listen to the final word and see what's said.
Bill of attainder, and I'm not entirely sure that was used appropriately in the case of Duval.
Matthew Hooton. Well, I think we are going to. There are people in our country who wish to have a debate about the Treaty of Waitangi and things like this. And they are determined, let's be very clear, they have no intention that their proposals are going to achieve anything. They're going to waste taxpayers' money. They're going to provoke what they hope will be a violent Maori response by radicals from Te Pāti Maori to do stupid things. Mm-hmm. And they're doing it in order to raise their profile based upon things they know not to be true.
Right.
And I think it is very, very important that as many people as possible ignore that nonsense, particularly Maori radicals, because this whole Treaty of Waitangi, the whole foreshore and sea, all it has ever been about is for a group of people to try and position people as radicals and the other and as somehow dangerous to the mainstream. And that has always been a lie. Those people have always known it is a lie. And I've sat with them when they have conspired to decide to tell those lies. And we are better than that. We are much better than that. And there are complicated issues that just are best to evolve and be left with a little bit of carefulness rather than this complete bullshit that things are occurring in our society that will somehow disadvantage those who are most powerful.
No race war while Matthew Hooton speaks. All right.
There you go. There's the last comment from that. And look, we're going to wrap up the show now.
100%.
Before we it was great. Great last word to kind of finish up on. Thank you for the super chat, Katrina. Pardon me, Katrina just says, love your work. Appreciate that. Ryjan, Matthew Hooton is a buffer. No. Maybe he's like the broken watch. Right, twice a day. He's a buffer twice a day. This is very good. Well done, Tawhiti. This actually deserves a little golf clap. Hobson,
Tawhiti is undefeated.
I actually wonder if that should be a T-shirt. I wonder if we could get that design. We could get someone to draft up a cartoonish image of that and get it out there. Problem is, it'd have to be quite quick because it's relevant to today. It's a good one though. Well done, King of the puns, Mr. Arvid. Pop off King Hooton. Another one for Mr. Arvid. Sound bite that Hooton quote, whichever that was. Dave Monster says David Seymour is the worst example of human. Just saying. Another one here from Mr. Arvids. I did not see this last night. OMG, we are eating tonight. So good. And Brent says magic. To enjoy this live chat and this segment with y'all is just magic. Hooton, the stealth woke right winger legend. All right, guys. Been great to be with you tonight. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night, maybe we'll try and open the Discord tomorrow night, shall we? We'll see how that goes. Lovely to be with you tonight. Thanks so much for being with us. It's been a great show, and yes, I thank you all for making us aware of that particular piece of content that was on the working group last night. It was bloody interesting. Anything before we head off to the credits here, shall we?
No, I think we've covered everything off there. Amazing. Once again, folks, it's great to have you as our eyes and ears for these sort of things. We usually get around to the working group, but just from the sheer weight of what you were sending us, we knew that one was a big one.
Yep. So you told us about it, and we did it for you. It's like a beautiful match made in heaven. Hey.
fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have the hand out for rewards, while the many have to work at what they can't afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, vetting bees from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing a war path to run, linking ourselves with the hill to die on. It's gotta come down to a welcoming vibe, with an A and a self and a higher in mind. All have a lean either this way or that, and will be analyzed by what you impact. With the evil in the world trying to mess with your head, and you're sitting on the couch, you're thinking chivalry's dead. Each night, 2 nights, they're gonna sing you to bed. Big hairy news.
All right, Whānau, thanks for being with us tonight. Thanks for all the support. If you're interested in what we do, if you enjoy what we do, feel free to head to patreon.com/Big Hairy News. Other than that, thanks for all the super chats. Thanks for being involved. Thanks for the information around the working group, which we all enjoyed a lot tonight. It's been great to be with you. Chewy?
Just one last thing. Just as far as Matthew Hooton's position on the Orua speech and that sort of thing, that's actually covered really well in the Hollow Men. If anybody has read that, if you haven't, I think if you're interested in New Zealand politics, just read.
All right, team. Thanks for being with us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow night from 9. Hooroo.
Cheers, folks.